Most people think that in war, the most expensive weapon wins. They are wrong. In the modern world, being too expensive to fail is actually a suicide note. Imagine spending the price of a luxury Ferrari to swat a single annoying fly. Now imagine there are 10,000 flies and you only have 5 Ferraris. Welcome to the greatest mathematical fraud in human history, where the goal isn't to win the war, but to make sure the bill is as high as possible. As we speak, the American Treasury is bleeding out. Money is evaporating into the thin air of defense R&D. While banks moan about liquidity and families struggle with inflation, one sector is throwing the most expensive party in the world. This isn't just about bullets and bombs. It's about a business model that profits from inefficiency. A system where a $2,000 lawnmower engine with wings can force a superpower to go bankrupt just by showing up. It's not an arms race anymore. It's a liquidation sale of the American empire. The official story is seductive. Lockheed Martin and their peers tell us that technological superiority is the only thing standing between you and global chaos. They show us the F-35, the most expensive machine ever built, and say this is the price of freedom. The narrative is simple. We build the smartest, fastest, most invisible weapons so that no one dares to challenge us. They point to the Patriot missile systems and say, look at these intercepts. We are an impenetrable shield. And for decades, we believed it. We believed that if a weapon costs $1 billion, it must be 1 billion times better than anything the bad guys have. We were told that complexity equals security, but here is the catch they didn't mention in the brochure. In a world of asymmetric warfare, $1 billion shield is useless against a $10 spear, especially when you only have 10 shields and the enemy has 1 million spears. If these weapons are so superior, why are we losing the math? Why is a superpower with a near $1 trillion defense budget terrified of a drone that uses a wooden propeller and a GPS chip you can buy on Amazon? The answer isn't a technical failure. It's a deliberate business choice. Because here is the dirty secret of the military-industrial complex. Effective, cheap weapons don't buy super yachts. Expensive, broken ones do. Let's talk about cost plus contracting. It's the most toxic phrase in finance. In the real world, if you build a bridge for less money, you keep the savings. You are rewarded for efficiency. But in the Pentagon's world, the rules are inverted. Defense giants get paid their costs, plus a fixed percentage as profit. Do the math. If Lockheed Martin builds a drone for $50,000, they might make $5,000 in profit. But if they convince the government that the drone needs stealth titanium casing, quantum sensors, and AI-integrated coffee makers, the price jumps to $5 million. Suddenly, that 10% profit is worth $500,000. They have a fiduciary duty to their shareholders to make the weapons as expensive, as complex, and as over-engineered as possible. They aren't incentivized to kill the enemy. They are incentivized to kill the budget. Efficiency is their enemy. Simplicity is a threat to their bottom line. But wait, it gets worse. You'd think the government would stop this, right? That some smart general would say, hey, let's just buy the cheap stuff that works. He can't, because the people who approve the checks are the same people who will be sitting on Lockheed's board of directors next year. And the golden handshake is just the beginning. You might ask, if it's so inefficient, why doesn't Congress just cut the funding? Because Lockheed Martin isn't just a defense contractor. They are a political hostage taker. They've mastered a strategy called political engineering. Take the F-35 program. Its supply chain is spread across 45 different states and hundreds of congressional districts. When a politician considers cutting the budget, Lockheed's lobbyists don't talk about national security. They talk about jobs in your district. You want to cut the F-35? Fine. Tell the 2,000 families in your town why they're losing their mortgage because of your vote. It's a brilliant, cynical trap. The MIC has turned the American economy into a human shield for its own profits. They aren't just building planes. They are building voter protection. And that revolving door? It's more like a high-speed elevator. Today's Pentagon official who approves a $10 billion contract is tomorrow's Lockheed consultant with a 7-figure signing bonus. They aren't checking the math because they are the ones who will benefit from the error. But here is where the gamble turns into a death sentence. The MIC spent 50 years preparing for a war that looks like a Michael Bay movie, expensive, high-tech, and profitable. But the real enemy showed up with a $50 lawnmower engine and a thirst for martyrdom. The stakes are no longer just about wasteful spending. We are looking at a total, systemic inability to defend against the future. Because in the next 100 seconds, I'm going to show you how being the most advanced actually became America's greatest tactical weakness. This is the math of attrition, and it's a horror story. In a conflict over the Strait of Hormuz, Iran doesn't need to sink an aircraft carrier. They just need to make it too expensive to stay. When 100 Shahed drones fly toward a U.S. destroyer, the Navy has a choice. Let the drones hit $1 billion ship or fire $400 million worth of interceptors to stop them. Even if you shoot down every single drone, you still lose. Why? Because Lockheed Martin only produces about 600 Patriot interceptors a year. Iran can build 600 drones in a few weeks. We are literally running out of silver bullets, while the enemy has an infinite supply of cheap rocks. The MIC has built a military that is too expensive to use, too slow to replenish, and too profitable to fix. It's like bringing a diamond-encrusted sword to a fight against a swarm of bees. You look great until you're dead. Imagine the moment the supply chain breaks. The red lights are flashing, the screens show incoming targets. The commander shouts fire, but the response is silence. Sir, we're out. The next shipment from Lockheed isn't due until Q3 2027. In that silence, the entire superpower myth collapses. The $4 million missiles didn't fail because they weren't smart enough. They failed because they were too special to exist in large numbers. This is the $1 million gamble gone wrong. The MIC gambled that war would always be a boutique affair for billionaires. They forgot that history is a street fight, and in a street fight, the guy with the most bricks wins, not the guy with the most expensive suit. But I'm not a general. You say? Why should I care about Lockheed's overpriced missiles? Because that $4 million isn't coming from a magic cloud. It's being cannibalized from your life. Every time a Patriot missile misses a $20,000 drone, a piece of your future is being set on fire, and the bill is about to arrive at your front door. This is the opportunity cost of an empire. Since 2001, the U.S. has spent over $8 trillion on these asymmetric wars. That's $8 trillion that wasn't spent on high-speed rail, nuclear fusion, or a healthcare system that doesn't bankrupt you. The MIC's business model isn't just killing enemies, it's killing the American dream. They've created a hidden tax that shows up in your inflation, your decaying infrastructure, and your shrinking purchasing power. We are sacrificing our domestic stability to fund a defense system that is mathematically guaranteed to fail in a real conflict. It's the ultimate pump and dump scheme. Lockheed pumps the threat, the taxpayers dump the money, and the empire is left with the bill. The irony is perfect, and it is cruel. The military-industrial complex didn't build a shield for America. They built a financial parasite that is eating its host. We've learned that in the 21st century, you don't need to invade a superpower to defeat it. You just need to trick it into spending its entire fortune on $4 million fly swatters. As the old saying goes, an empire founded by war must maintain itself by war. But what they don't tell you is that eventually the war becomes so profitable that the empire forgets how to win. It only remembers how to pay. And when the money runs out, the superiority goes with it. So next time you see a billion-dollar jet on the news, don't look at the technology. Look at the price tag and ask yourself, who is really the target of this weapon? The enemy or your bank account?